Right, OTB AM and Golf Weekly are giving you the chance to win a 4-ball at Mount Juliet. All you have to do is tell us who was closest to the pin when me and Nathan made a recent trip to Mount Juliet.
So we've had a cracking day here at Mount Juliet and we want you to come down as well. We're giving away a 4-ball for one of the best golf courses in Ireland, following the footsteps of Tiger Woods, of Ernie Els, maybe beat the course record of Garcia and Goosen. Who knows how good you are? All you got to do is guess which of us, myself and Ger, is going to get closest on this hole, the third hole, the par 3, 174 yards, wind gusting off the right. If both of us end up in the water, we're just going to keep doing it until somebody eventually lands
so this might never
on
happen.
Green grass. All you got to do is leave a comment either on Facebook or tweet us with who you think, Nathan or Ger, and we will pick out a winner. 174 yards. Oh, it's a smooth strike with that brand new Callaway Rogue. Is it coming back in? Oh, it's in the wet stuff.
It's up, up and away, and away, and away, and away, and away, and away she goes, somewhere deep in the dark, misty woods.
Oof. We might get that ball back at least. Are we going to call that in play?
Here we go. Oh, looks like it's on target. Oh, it's leaking to the left. Splat! Splat, that means I win, right? Well, to enter that competition, just tweet Ger or Nathan to @GolfWeeklyOTB and @Mount Juliet. Nathan, good morning to you. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
We didn't bring you on to humiliate you about me winning that competition.
The more I think about it, I can't believe, considering we could have edited that as many times as we wanted, that we just didn't take another few shots and have our best one landing on the green.
Yeah,
that's a beautiful thing.
That would have been much better. I see you've got your, your Rory gear on.
Okay, I'm on. I've been wearing this since Sunday night.
Yeah, all right.
I'm on brand. I'm proud to wear it now.
The fans with typewriters and microphones thing. You're like, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, screw it. Freebies.
Well, you know, don't mention the war. So, there's a possibility that golf is about to become the best sport in the world, right?
There most definitely is, because there won't be a sporting event like it if we have Tiger Woods in contention on the back nine at Augusta in just over 2 weeks' time. And we have spent, probably 6-7 years saying, imagine if this had happened. It's never going to happen. Right now, there's a definite possibility it could happen. It could well have happened last Sunday night. Tiger, when he had those 3 birdies at the start of his back nine, suddenly he's within 1 shot of Rory McIlroy. And you're thinking, imagine if these guys end up going to a playoff. This is everything you would want in professional golf. And it's hard to remember a time where a Masters has been so well set up with practically every single leading player in the game on top of their form and Tiger Woods in the mix. Because, all right, we wonder, would you get McIlroy against Thomas or Spieth, and what that would mean, probably more for golf fans. But if you put any of them, even Sergio Garcia, Justin Rose, somebody like that, up against Tiger on the back nine of a major, with all he's gone through over the past decade, it's going to be as good as it gets.
So there's a bunch of other videos which we'll release about how to hit stingers and draws and fades and stuff. But when we were talking about the Tiger stinger, there was generally a consensus that Tiger's game has changed a little bit from the absolute peak. And obviously, his game was perfectly suited to Augusta. Is the new Tiger's game as suited to Augusta as the old Tiger's game?
Well, Augusta is sort of a peculiar course in that you can have misses as long as you know where to miss it. Now, Tiger's big problem has been, in the last 3 or 4 weeks, he's still nowhere near he needs to be off the tee. He's off the tee probably where Rory was on the putting green over the last 2 weeks. He's just making too many mistakes, and we saw that again. That's ultimately what cost him on 16 with that drive out of bounds. He had done something similar in the opening round. At Augusta, if you hit that bad a drive, as we saw with McIlroy back in 2011 when he suddenly found this house on the 10th that nobody had ever seen before, it can kill your round completely. You see it time and time again. So that would be the one concern, that off the tee, 1 or 2 terrible errors will result in a double, triple bogey at Augusta, and you ain't coming back from that. But every other part of his game is perfect. And what he said, actually, interestingly, after his round was that he hadn't really been trying to tinker with anything over the last couple of weeks with his driving, even though it had been so bad. But now he's got a break in 2 weeks before Augusta. He's going to go back. He's going to make a few changes. And if he has any even slight improvement in his driving, you'd have to think with the rest of his game, with the experience he has around Augusta, he's going to be right there in contention.
And then you take that and you flip it really with Rory, as you said. You turn it onto the greens. Talk to us a little bit about Brad Faxon, because clearly he's had an impact on what he's done with Rory. Have they worked together for long? Has this been the main reason why he's reduced it to something like 100 putts for the week at the event at the weekend?
It seems so. They're not actually even officially working together. So Brad Faxon was a good PGA Tour player who was regarded as one of the greatest putters of all time. And Rory and him basically, it seems, spent a day together and worked more on the mental side of things than the technical side of things. So Brad Faxon asked Rory McIlroy, what are you thinking about when you stand up in the tee box? And McIlroy, nothing. It comes naturally to me. Whereas he's thinking 100 different things. He's way too technical with his putting. And McIlroy said, well, I've got to the stage, and the advice he gave me was, we'll just take it like any other shot. If you miss, you miss. Move on. Forget about it. Whereas he seemed to be reading far too much into every single miss, spent way too much time. We saw this at the Irish Open last year. You might have been with us, Ger, when he was playing with Ram and Matsuyama. When they were on the green, he would spend the entire time while they were putting, practicing his technique, trying to find something there. So it seems just by feel and doing what he feels comfortable with, he's had this week. And this wasn't any sort of decent putting week. This was comfortably McIlroy's greatest putting week he's ever had. It was far and away, statistically, ahead of any other professional tournament on the PGA Tour he's been involved in. And you top that with, he led the field in driving distance, he led the field in proximity to the hole, he led the field in scrambling, and he was miles ahead of everybody on the greens. You end up with him winning like that. So I do wonder if it was sort of freakish in just how good he was. But the thing with McIlroy is, generally he's been around, should we say, like the 100th best putter on the PGA Tour. If he's averaging being the 20th or 30th, he's going to win a lot of tournaments. He doesn't need that week every week.
So my theory is that Tiger being back is a kind of possibly a lot of crap. He could get back to being a contender. He will never be
a lot of crap. He was tied for the lead last week, and he was one off the lead this week.
Let him finish his theory. Come on.
My point is that when you say Tiger is back, I'm talking, destroying the fields at Augusta. I'm talking about peak Tiger in the early part of the century. He will get back to where he was around Torrey Pines maybe, and that's a very, very good rendition of Tiger, don't get me wrong. But when you say Rory is back, I think that completely makes sense, because for what you just outlined there statistically, Rory is back.
Yeah, and if he keeps this streak of putting going, he's going to win a lot of tournaments. This happened to him after the Masters that he blew up in 2011. He met Dave Stockton, and he goes and he wins 2 majors over the next 18 months. Then he seems to get back, gets too technical, looks for more advice, and it falls away again. But we know if he has an 18-month stretch like that, maybe he will win 2 majors. I would disagree on Tiger. I sort of felt the same over the last couple of months, that what's the best we can expect, that maybe he might win another PGA Tour event, maybe we get a couple of majors that he might contend in. The way he's played over the last couple of weeks, I think you got to revise absolutely everything. He's going to go to Augusta as the bookies' favourite, and with good reason. It's not just on the history, it's what we've seen over the last couple of weeks. And I think if he can somehow sort out his driving, if he can get any improvement in that, we're talking about a guy who's could well win a major this year and could win multiple majors.
So we were in America, Nathan. I don't know if you knew that we went to New York last week. You didn't get to come for some reason. It's the second trip you haven't made the cut to the States. But anyway, people were talking to us. They were stopping us and going, "What's the story of McIlroy? Why is he his game's gone to shit? What's going on?" I think it's to do with not having JP on the bag anymore. Somebody was saying the conspiracy theories abound when McIlroy's not playing well in a way that only I'd say maybe Roy Keane has ever had conspiracy theories in Irish sports history abound before. But it was important for him to get that win for all sorts of reasons, not least that the Masters is right there, but that he's made all these changes in his life, that he has completely changed as a person. He's grown up, and now he's winning as a man for the first time, really, it feels like.
Yeah, and he did win for the first time with Harry Diamond on the bag, which I'm sure will make a difference as well. The other part of that is that he took this three and a half month sabbatical, and he talked that up for so long that I need this break. I'm going to go analyse every part of my life. When I turn up for tournaments, what I eat, my diet, my gym routine, everything. And when I come back, I am ready. And then he turned up in January in the Middle East and played really well. And then it just started to slowly fall apart again when he went over to California. And you thought, here we go, more excuses. What's the next change? Because he has changed, with the exception of Michael Bannon, his swing coach. He's changed absolutely everything in his life, both on and off the pitch. So I think it does reassure him that he's done the right thing over the last 4 or 5 months, and that He is now in a position where he can go and contend. And remember, Augusta is very much a horses for courses type place. McIlroy's had, 4 top 10s in the last 4 years without ever really contending. But we do know from 2011, when he shot that opening round 65, that he can play Augusta. And I think he's going to take massive confidence. Like, it couldn't have come at a better time.
What's your take on Rory talking about the fans over the weekend and saying that they need to limit the amount of alcohol consumption on course? We obviously had Justin Thomas getting a fan kicked out 2 or 3 weeks ago at a different event. Do Justin Thomas and Rory McIlroy just need to man up?
It's a strange one. I think the problem is that you have the Phoenix Open. So this all came off the back of the Phoenix Open, which has been turned into sort of a spring break for sport, where they had 250,000, they had over 200,000 people on one day, on the Saturday of the Phoenix Open. And everyone is absolutely locked. But because everybody's locked, there's a constant noise. So when you go to the par 3 16th, the famous hole with the stadium, there's constant noise. So it's fine, you're expecting it. I think the problem now is that there's just individuals are getting braver. They know they'll get on the TV coverage. So you're not expecting it. If you're standing over a 10-footer, you're not expecting suddenly as you're about to hit that putt, somebody shouts out of nowhere. At the darts, you go to that, again, they're used to the background noise. I think it's just something that maybe the PGA Tour, can you stop people drinking? You want to make it an attractive day out for people. It's a very corporate event. People go and they have their few glasses and bottles of wine and have a jolly good time. You just throw people out, but I think they're going to have to put up with it.
Nathan, last question for you. As our resident Mayo apologist, Andy Moore.
Hold on, I get my Mayo jersey on.
It was dealt with at the time. Nothing to see here. Move on, folks. Is that what you're saying?
Listen, I think the TV footage was extremely grainy. I couldn't even comment on such matters, but it was very grainy. I think the referee bumped into Andy. I hope he's okay.
I think Andy, all that working out in the gym is protecting him from the heft of Maurice Deegan. So he's going. Well,
if we had proper coverage of these league games, and we had 8 different cameras with all the angles, like we had when Sky were covering the Dublin Carlow game, then we'd be able to properly analyse it. But unfortunately, the one camera means that we just don't have the views, so you can't find somebody guilty on that.
There is news, though, that Lee Keegan has been injured and there's damage to his shoulder, which they're going to scan today or tomorrow. If Lee Keegan is going to miss any significant time at this stage of the season and isn't fully fit for the start of the championship, then suddenly that 3-1 or 4-1 about Galway in Connacht is the bet of the season, right?
Well, it already looks like it's the bet of the season. Like, Mayo have probably at their lowest ebb in 6 or 7 years. The only hope, and if it was any other team besides Mayo, you would probably feel, yeah, this is definitely the end. You sort of feel like Mayo are just challenging us constantly to see how far we can write them off before eventually they come and bounce back. Lee Keegan shouldn't even be playing now. Remember, the hip injury meant he was going to miss the entire league campaign. He somehow got back earlier, so he seems to have pretty incredible powers of recovery, so I wouldn't rule him out just yet.
Nathan, good stuff. Thanks a million.
Cheers, lads.
Nathan Murphy joining us this morning to talk about the amazing return of Rory McIlroy.